Welcome to Fully Booked, the bookish podcast where I'll chat about all things book and reading related. Whether you're a new or a pro reader, there's something for everyone to learn. I'm here to help you on your reading journey and find that next great read that will keep you fully booked. Hello, readers, and welcome to episode 37 of Fully Booked. I am your host, Natalie, and today's episode is going to be a news episode of sorts. We're going to be going over all the different book releases and adaptations coming out over the next couple months of this year. If you guys have been around for a bit, or even if you haven't, you might have seen that I did release a anticipated releases episode back in January of this year, which was episode 20, I believe, if you want to go back and listen to that. But basically, I've been trying to find, episode ideas that I can make sort of reoccurring series here on the podcast. Just because, let's just say episode ideation and creation gets kind of stale. But yeah, I thought a news episode would be a pretty good one because, of course, as readers, we love keeping up with all the different book releases, especially getting to find out whether your favorite author is putting out a book in the coming months or not is always something very exciting for all of us. So I honestly just handpicked a few that I could find coming out over the next couple of months, and we're just going to go through them very quickly. I'm going to be honest, it's going to take forever if I were to read the summary of each and every book that I'm going to talk about. So this is going to be a very brief overview. But if you are interested in reading the full summaries and learning more about some of the books that I talk about, I am going to include an Amazon wish list in the description or the show notes today, wherever you're listening. So you can click on that if you want to find out more information. Also, quick disclaimer for those of you listening today, my seasonal allergies are in full swing. It is that time of year again, and yeah, it's just been really hitting me the past couple days, including today as I'm filming and recording this. So if my voice doesn't sound as clear on today's episode, I apologize for that in advance. Anyways, before we dive further into today's episode, let's start off with a quick daub of the day. Now, my drink is pretty boring, and you can't even see it because I put it in this type of mug. Or maybe I tilted a bit, you can see. I'm literally just drinking a black coffee or Americano from my Nespresso that I have at home. Also, if any of you guys also drink like pure black coffee, please let me know, because I feel like I am the only one out here, or I should say only female out here on YouTube or in the content creation space drinking black coffee. So yeah, if I have any fellow black coffee drinkers, I would love to hear. Outfit, I have the usual going on, except for I do have a new shirt which says, I will stand up, Club du Lecteur, which for those of you who don't know is book club in French. Actually, thank you again to Oma for getting me more bookish type merch and t-shirts to wear. I think this one's also it's actually just a pretty cute shirt in general. Can probably pair it with a lot of different pants and skirts for the spring and summertime, which will be fun. But anyways, in terms of books that I'm reading, I actually don't have too much going on for once, as I literally just finished Promise Me Sunshine last night. And I don't want to give too much away because I'll be reviewing that later in my reading wrap-up and whatnot. But I did end up reading that one above 4 stars. And let's just say I might have found a new favorite author. And then other than that, I'm still in the middle of Insurgent, which is the sequel in the Divergent series by Veronica Roth. That's just a reread I'm trying to get through this year. But without further ado, let's actually start diving in. So I'm going to start off with some book releases that are coming out over the next few months, and I'm literally just going in order of date. So that means we're going to start with the month of May. So we actually have one release that came out last week on May 2nd, and that is a new Mariana Zapata novel, which is called The Things We Water. And this one looked interesting because normally she writes adult slow burn sports romances, but this new one is actually a paranormal romance. It's also labeled as urban fantasy, involves werewolves, etc. Yeah, this one's interesting. I don't know if I'm going to pick it up necessarily. I haven't read Mariana Zapata at all, but this one just looked interesting again. And then, on another note, today is actually a very big book release day. I actually didn't write these two down, but actually, I guess just FYI, today is May 6th on the day that I'm filming and recording. It's going to be a bit after by the time you guys are seeing this. But today, One Golden Summer by Carly Fortune came out, which is another novel set in the world of like Barry's Bay and Every Summer After, as well as My Friends, the new Friedrich Bachmann novel came out. I already read that one back in February, March, so you guys will have seen my review for that. I guess going back though, One Golden Summer, it is going to be on one of my upcoming TBRs, so stay tuned for that one. And then continuing on for today's releases, we also have The Tenant by Frida McFadden came out today. There's a new Rachel Lynn Solomon book, What Happens in Amsterdam. Now, for this one, I just have to say, I know it just came out today, but I'm very tempted to pick this one up because just based on the cover alone, this one looked so cute, and it's also a adult second chance marriage of convenience, a romance, which of course takes place in Amsterdam. But yeah, I'll probably pop the covers up for some of these books. If you guys haven't seen this one, it's super cute. It's got like lots of flowers and like tulips on the cover. Looks very spring-like, and very random. I noticed that I've been getting so many like Instagram ads and posts popping up on my feed for like flower farms, but also tulip farms. Seems to be a big thing that people want to go do and go visit. Again, we have a new Tia Williams book coming out, and it's called Audrey and Bash Are Just Friends. I don't know what this one's about again, but I believe it's her first YA romance, so that should be fun. And then finally, for today, we have The Thrashers by Julie Soto. Now, I believe Julie Soto, so far she's been writing adult romances, but this one is actually a YA mystery thriller. And I've had Julie Soto on my TBR for a couple of months now. I want to really pick up, I think it's called Not Another Love Song was the one I wanted to pick up by her. But this one also looks fun as well. And this one might be going on my TBR. And then otherwise, I only have one other release written down for May, which is going to be near the end of the month on May 27th. And we have yet another Ali Hazelwood book coming out this year, which is called Problematic Summer Romance. And I think this one is the sequel to Not in Love. But it's funny because I don't remember when now, but I kind of recently took Not in Love off of my TBR because I heard that it read very much like erotica, although I'm finding a lot of Ali Hazelwood's books are kind of reading like that lately. But yeah, I'm just not really interested in that subgenre. I'm not sure if I'm very inclined to read problematic summer romance if, again, it's reading anything like a lot of her latest releases. Also, Ali Hazelwood is just going off the rails with her publications and releases this year because D-Ben literally just came out a couple months ago, and then I guess I'll talk about it again later, but I'm pretty sure the sequel to Bride is also coming out this year in like September or October. So free book releases in a year is pretty crazy. And let's move on to the June releases now. So starting off on June 3rd, we have A First Time for Everything by K.L. Walther coming out. If you guys remember, or don't remember, I guess rather, this is the author that wrote... oh my gosh, the title almost escaped me. She wrote The Summer Broken Rules, but I feel like with this author, the only thing I will say is that I tried reading another one of her books. I don't even remember the title right now. It's escaping me. I feel like her books are all kind of similar because they're all YA romances. They all have like some sort of game element, which makes them fun. But again, they're just all kind of similar after a while. And like if you read one of her books, you don't need to read them all. And this one is similar again, where it involves, I think, a wedding and they play Game of Truth or Dare one night. Something like that. So honestly, I don't know if I'll pick this one up. yeah, moving on, June 10th, we have With a Vengeance by Riley Sager and Slow Burn Summer by Josie Silver coming out. Now, this is interesting because I'm a pretty big fan of Riley Sager, and I think this release is probably one of the biggest ones on my radar for the upcoming months and to pick up and read right away. I remember this latest one, it takes place all on a train. Something like that. I didn't even really read the full summary, but as soon as I saw there was a new Riley Sager book coming out, I'm like, you best believe I'm going to be picking that one up this summer and getting my dose of summer thrillers. And the Josie Silver, I'm honestly not sure I want to pick up this book. I think this one was like the first, I don't know, summery type of romance that I was seeing her write, but we'll see. And then, actually, yeah, last book that I have written down for June, which is coming out on June 24th, we have Don't Let Him In by Lisa Jewell. Okay, so for July releases, it looks like we have a pretty fun month ahead, again, in terms of books, because starting on July 8th, we have The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy is coming out by Bridget Knightley, and we have another Alyssa Sussman novel coming out called Totally and Completely Fine. Now, for The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy, if you guys don't know, this is going to be the traditionally published version of the Hermione fanfic, which was called Draco Malfoy and the Mortifying Ordeal of Being in Love. Sorry, that was a mouthful. It's interesting, too, because looking at the description for The Irresistible Urge, it's described as perfect for fans of The Love Hypothesis and Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. I haven't read the latter book, but I have read The Love Hypothesis, so that did intrigue me a bit. But I kind of have a weird thing with fanfic that are being traditionally published, in that I kind of prefer to read it, I feel like, as the fanfic. And I want to read about Draco and Hermione, not about these, characters that have been given different names. But I know a lot of people kind of argue that, obviously it's nice to support the authors if they're going to be traditionally published and actually, buy a copy of their book. But yeah, I'm kind of on the fence of whether I want to read it as a traditionally published version where, the names of the characters and aspects of the world have probably been changed and altered completely. But anyways, to keep moving along, we have Not Quite Dead Yet by Holly Jackson coming out on July 22nd. This one's interesting because it's her first adult mystery thriller coming out. So maybe I'll pick that one up for something different. And then the last book I have written down for July, coming out on July 29th, is A Theory of Dreaming by Ava Reed. Now, this one's interesting because it is the sequel for the duology of A Study in Drowning. And the reason I put this one on my list and my TBR is because I originally wanted to read A Study in Drowning sometime this year. Actually, preferably, I was going to read it in like early spring, like probably back in March, but it's early May, and I still haven't picked up that book, and I have not been in a big fantasy mood at all. So we'll see if I actually pick up that book or not. So I only have a couple more book titles written down in terms of upcoming releases. For August, I couldn't find that many for some reason. I only have 2 written down, which are on August 7th, we have Accomplice to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mehrer coming out. Sorry if I butchered her last name. This is the 3rd book in the Assistant to the Villain series, and I forget if this one is just going to be a trilogy, if this is the last book or not, or if it's going to be continuing. And then August 26th, we have a new R.F. Kuang novel coming out, which I think this is going to be on a lot of people's radars because I've seen it on so many people's anticipated releases videos and whatnot, and it is Catabasis, or Catabasis. I've seen this pronounced a number of different ways. Actually, I was watching Jamie Foxx's video recently. She was saying that apparently the way R.F. Kuang, like the author herself, pronounces it, apparently it's Catabasis, which feels unnatural to us. Like, I think, especially, we'd say the quote American or North American way, Catabasis. And that one has a very interesting concept where basically the 2 main characters have to go into hell and rescue their professor who, I forget if he died or if he just disappeared. A very dark concept, very dark academia-like, which is kind of typical R of Kwong, but yeah, something unique. So I have to admit, I still have other R of Kwong novels that I want to read first. Like Babel is probably next up on my TBR in terms of books I want to try by her, because I've only read Yellowface. But yeah, this one might be going on my TBR as well, just because the concept is so interesting. And then I just wrote these two down because I was watching a short interview with Abby Jimenez the other day, and she was talking about her next two releases that are going to be out. Basically, she's going to be continuing the Say You'll Remember Me as a little series, and there's going to be at least two more books in that universe, which is The Night We Met, and the other one is Untitled, but it's going to be Mike's love story, which I think was one of the friends in Say You'll Remember Me, like Xavier's friend group. So yeah, dates to be determined. Although, I looked up The Night We Met the other day, and Goodreads has a release date of January 1st, 2026, which is interesting because I swear in the interview that I was watching, she said that The Night We Met is going to be a holiday romance story. So I'm not sure why the release date would be January 1st, because it's going to come out after, or like right after the holiday season. So that doesn't make sense. So I don't know. Maybe Goodreads got the date wrong or something. I'm not really sure. Alright, so those are all of the upcoming book releases that I had written down. Now let's move on to some book adaptation news. Now, some of you might already be aware if you are big Emily Henry fans, but basically all of her adult romance books have been picked up for production, but unfortunately we do not have any release dates as of now for when these movies or TV series are going to come out. But we do know that I think at least 3 of her books are going to be movies, I believe. And then Happy Place is supposedly going to be a TV series, and it was picked up by J-Lo's production company, which was interesting to see what she will do with that one. And then I guess as for the other ones, we do know that People We Meet on Vacation is going to be starring Tom Blythe and Emily Bader, which if you guys watched The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, then you'll remember he played Young Snow. Interesting cast choice for that. And then Yulin Kwong is screenwriter for both People We Meet on Vacation and Beach Read. And then, according to an article that I was reading recently, Emily Henry herself is going to write the screenplay for Funny Story. And then on an exciting or not so exciting note, depending on how you feel about her now, Miss Colleen Hoover has quite a number of books being adapted for the screen over the next couple months, and we have full casts and everything for these adaptations. So first we have Regretting You is supposed to be coming out October 24th of this year, starring Allison Williams, McKenna Grace, Dave Franco, Mason Thames, and Josh Boone is going to be the director of this film, which... if you guys do or don't know, he was the director of The Fault in Our Stars, for reference. Then we also have Reminders of Him is coming out next February, starring Bradley Whitford, Maika Monroe, Lauren Graham, Tyreek Withers, Rudy Pankow, Nicholas Duvernay, and Lainey Wilson. I'm sorry if I butchered some of those names. Also, I'm going to be honest, I totally just listed all of those people because I don't really know majority of these actors besides Lauren Graham and Dave Franco. I actually don't, which is embarrassing because I looked up most of the actors and most of them are in well-known TV series that have come out over the past couple years. I just don't keep up with TV enough to know who they are. Finally, we have Verity is going to be coming out supposedly May 15th, 2026. And it's going to be starring Anne Hathaway, Dakota Johnson, and Josh Hartnett. Now, out of all these 3, Verity is probably the one I'm most likely to watch. The other 2, I really didn't even bother reading. I think I DNF Reminders of Him at maybe 15 or 20% of the way in, and I just could not get into that book. And then to round out the adaptations, we have a bunch of one-offs coming out as TV series and movies over the next little while. So the first one that I have written down, it's actually coming out on May 8th, so a couple days from today on Netflix as a TV show. And that is Forever, which has Regina King as the executive producer. And it's a adaptation of the same book by Judy Blume. And it's reimagined in 2018 LA, with both of the MCs as young athletes. Now, this one's interesting because if you guys don't know, that original novel by Judy Blume was published back in 1975. So it's actually a really old book. I feel like the TV show is going to be very different. I watched the trailer for it the other day. And first of all, the majority of the cast in this TV show is Black. And of course, I'm making an assumption, but just in my head, at least, the way I imagine, I assume Judy Blume wrote the characters as Caucasian. Yeah, I didn't really picture them being Black just because of the way they acted and stuff necessarily. So, yeah, and then I just don't know how I feel overall about it because it looked very dramatic and that there's a lot of elements that they changed. So that one, I'm kind of iffy on whether I'm going to watch it or not. But other than that, this next one is nothing new, but we have the final and third season of The Summer I Turned Pretty is coming out on Prime on July 16th. That one, I definitely will be tuning in and watching. I really want to see the completion of that show and see how they adapt the third book. And then probably this one's going to be most exciting for people. Apparently, on December 25th on Netflix, we are getting a version of The Housemaid, with Sydney Sweeney as Millie and Amanda Seyfried as Nina. And then, I can remember his name. I forgot to look it up before I started recording, but the guy who plays Atlas in It Ends With Us is going to be the husband, Andrew, in this movie, which is, again, a very interesting cast choice. Yeah, so when that comes out, I think I'm also going to be watching that because that's probably my top Freida McFadden novel still. And then the next couple I have written down, no release dates yet. So this next book is really interesting, as this book only came out in February of this year, and it's already been picked up for production. It's supposedly going to be produced by A24, and starring, we already have 2 cast members, Austin Butler and Saoirse Ronan, and that is the book Deep Cuts. I'm not sure how this one got picked up so quickly. I guess it's like getting to the point in, I guess, the book and also the film industry where maybe they start talking about it early on, even before the book is released. How they decide to pick it up, though, before the book's even been released, though, and like been received by the public, I'm not sure. But yeah, apparently this one is going to be a movie or TV show at some point. Yeah, I'm not sure which one. I hope that one's going to be really good because I think a lot of people said it had the feel of Normal People, and A24 also produced Normal People. So that should be an interesting adaptation. And then again, no release dates, but we have The Hunting Wives is going to be out as a TV series, and it's starring Malin Ackerman, Brittany Snow, and Dermot Mulrooney. There might have been a few other cast members mentioned. I just didn't write it down though. And then I read an article that said production wrapped in July 2024. So hopefully we'll get a release date for that one sometime. And then the last one that I have written down, we are getting supposedly a TV series for First Lie Wins, which is going to be with Octavia Spencer's production company, and the screenwriter is going to be Krista Vernoff, who also wrote or helped write Grey's Anatomy. And that one I just wrote down because I read First Lie Wins pretty recently, I guess about a month ago now. And then when I was looking up stuff about the book and then I saw there's going to be a TV show, I just couldn't help myself. I got really excited. So hopefully that's one that also comes out soon and I get to watch that. But that's all the upcoming book releases and adaptations that I have for you guys today. Of course, there's tons more to come in the rest of 2025. But again, I'm hoping to do at least one more episode in this year to talk about those releases coming out later in the year. Although I'm not gonna lie, I did already start looking ahead to some books that are coming out in September or October of this year, and seeing some of the titles ahead, I got pretty excited, and I already put some of them on my TBR. So with that, I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Let me guys know if you've heard of any of these upcoming book releases or adaptations, which ones are on your radar that you're most excited to read or watch next. But before I go, quick reminder that if you are not subscribed to the podcast YouTube channel, you should definitely go and do that. It is free, and you can get notified of all uploads, whether video or audio episodes. Although, quick FYI, I guess for those of you who don't check or read my podcast bio or like description, I do post episodes every Tuesday. So just a reminder there. But as always, just want to wish you guys a wonderful day, and I will see you back here for episode 38. Thank you for listening to today's episode. I hope you were able to take away something, and be sure to follow the podcast for more bookish content. Until next time, stay fully booked, and I'll talk to you soon.